Hi everybody, it's Mr. Boll here, and this is our Year 3 climate topic, Lesson 4. Where and why do deserts form? So last week we found out about some of the major deserts in the world, like the Sahara in Africa and the Mojave in North America. And this week we're going to find even more deserts, and we're going to be asking the question, why do we have deserts? Okay, so here is a map of the world, and you're going to find this on a website that's really good fun called Toporopa. And if you have older brothers and sisters in the school, they will have used it before. And you're going to go to this page, which is in their World Games section, and you're going to try this challenge. Now, by the end of the lesson, I want you to be able to find all these deserts on the Toporopa quiz. But when you do it the first time, you'll want to keep open this lesson, this part of the lesson on pause of my lesson, which gives you a bit of help to find these, because they're going to show you a map without the names on. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what it looks like so that you'll be able to do it. So here I am on the internet, and I'm on Toporopa World Games, and here is their map of the world, but this time there's no names, and I have to see if I can get it. Will you help me out? Where is the Sahara? Okay, I think you were all pointing to the right place, so I'm going to click on this big desert at the top of Africa. Excellent, and I got it right, so I get a little congratulations up here, and I also get some information which I can read about the Sahara, and I can find out that it's the world's largest desert. Okay, now, what you're going to do though is, if you get stuck, okay, you might think, oh, I don't know that one. So normally I would say to you, don't give up. But on this, it could be useful to just do this, okay, so that you can get a little bit of help. Because once you do that, there's all the names, and then you can look at them. Okay, next time I do it, I'll be able to get them. Okay, so that you can do that on this game to help you. But after, say, 3 or 4 goes, I think you start challenging yourself to get all the way through, where you get all of these, score up to 20 out of 20, and then it will say you might have either had 1 attempt or even no attempts. That means you get none wrong. Okay? So that's a bit of a challenge for you. Right, let's get back to our slides. So here we are. Okay, and we're on this in this part of our lesson. Okay, we're finding out, done that bit. You'll see in this Toporopa game that some of the deserts are deserts that we saw last week. Okay, so here are some we saw last week, but there are others that we didn't see last week. So, and you're going to look at Toporopa to see if you can do that challenge. Now, the next question we're going to ask ourselves is why? Why do we have deserts where they are? Now, I've drawn on this map a line showing the equator, and you'll notice that there aren't any deserts on the equator. But I thought you said, Mr. Boll, that the equator was the hottest part of the world. Yes, it is. So why aren't there any deserts on the equator? But there are deserts here, okay, in this band just north of the equator, but you'll notice in the same band south of the equator is where you get your deserts there as well. So deserts form for 3 reasons, and we're going to look at those 3 reasons today. Here's the first one. The first reason is called Hadley cells. Now, the name Hadley is named after a geographer who explained this, the way that the deserts form in this way. Here is the tropics, the bit that all the way around the world, the hottest part of the world is on the equator, and in the tropics you get tropical rainforests like the Amazon in Brazil, and there it's very hot, but it's also very wet. Okay, and the deserts form here around about in a band from about 30 degrees north of the equator, and in the same equivalent band about 30 degrees south. And that's because all of the moisture from the rainforests and from the jungles that grow at the equator, that will only travel so far before the air cools down, and then the rain will fall in this area. So this area is always hot and wet, and by the time the air gets to here, it's totally dried out. So you tend to get deserts here and here. There are examples of deserts that were formed in this way. The Sahara was formed in this way in Africa. So was the Kalahari, also in Africa. And so was the Great Sandy Desert in Australia. So that's the first way in which deserts form. The first way is called Hadley cells. The second way in which deserts form is because of a rain shadow. So what happens is, if the prevailing wind, that's the normal wind direction, in Britain we often have wind from the west. If the normal wind direction is from the sea and brings the clouds up over a range of mountains, then the rain will fall in the mountains. As air rises, it gets colder and colder, and that makes the rain fall. And here's all the rain falling in the mountains. But as the air gets transported across the mountains, there isn't any rain left. There's no rain left to fall in this area, and that is with these deserts here. That this type of desert is called a rain shadow desert. Here's some examples. The Atacama Desert, which we looked at a little bit last week, is just behind the Andes Mountains in South America, and it's an example of a rain shadow desert. The Gobi Desert in Asia is behind the Himalayas, and the rain falls in the Himalayas and doesn't fall in the Gobi Desert. So number 2 is rain shadow. Number 1 was Hadley cells. Here's number 3. The third reason that you can have deserts is through a process, right? This is a very long word and I want you to learn it. It's desertification. Okay? So you may have to practice saying it a few times, and I also want you to learn how to spell it. So what happens is, if people are living, humans, as you know, there's lots and lots of humans in the world, and the world's population is growing all the time. And if people are living near a desert, and they may be not very well off, and there's a tendency for them to let their cattle, cows and sheep and other animals, to eat the grass too much, and the land will dry out. And if people cut down lots of trees, which is a process we call deforestation, which, as you know, is happening to some extent down in the Amazon rainforest, if people cut down lots of trees, this can lead to problems. And if it's near a desert, it can make that desert gradually grow. The soil will erode, and you'll lose some of your topsoil. It might wash away, and you'll lose some of the nutrients from the soil. Okay, so some deserts are actually getting bigger, partly as a result of human activity. Now, an example is the Gobi Desert, which is estimated to grow every year by about 1,300 square miles, which is a lot. Okay, so this is one that's being taken very, very seriously at the moment, because some deserts are actually getting a bit bigger as a result of human activity. Right, there's your 3 reasons. Hadley cells, rain shadow, and desertification. Those are the 3 reasons why deserts form. Okay, now here are the tasks I want you to do this week. There are 3 tasks, and you're going to, task number 1, you're just going to write down a list of these 5 continents and name a desert for each one. Okay, so I'm actually going to do one for you. Africa. Oh, which desert can I name that's in Africa? Oh yes, I've remembered. The Kalahari is in Africa. And then you find one for North America, one for Asia, one for Australia, and one for South America. If you can do more, that's great. Task 2, I've actually done a fill in the gaps exercise here. The 3 ways deserts can form are something cells, you have to remember, and the clue is it's got 6 letters. Because of a rain something, 6 letters. And finally, because of a very long word, which has 15 letters. And then after that, can you give me an example of each type? A desert that is formed because of that method. Okay. Task number 3. Choose one of the ways that deserts can form and write a few sentences explaining it. Here's a waggle. that I've done. Here's my waggle. A rain shadow can create desert conditions. A large range of mountains forces moist air upwards and rain will fall on the high ground. The wind may carry the air over the area behind the mountains, but there is no rain left to fall. The area behind the mountains can become a desert. That's an example. That's what sort of thing you could do, but obviously you're going to do your own one. Right, those are your 3 tasks. Pause on this screen if you can't remember them so that you'll make sure that you can do them. And I'll put up on the website the link to Toporopa so you can get on there. And I think you'll enjoy it. If you want to, you can have a go at some of the other games on there as well. All the best then. Bye for now.